So for everyone that's joining, thank you for joining. We are going to get started here in the next 3 minutes. So just hang tight for a little bit and we're going to get started here shortly. Again, for those who are just joining, we are going to get started here in about 2 more minutes. All righty, so good evening, everyone. We're gonna get started. I hope you all have had an amazing day today, still enjoying quarantine. We're gonna talk today about giving you some tips and tricks on the virtual career fair. And the name of this webinar is called the Virtual Career Fair Playbook, Tips on how to secure a job offer remotely. And so just to kind of kick it off, my name is Victoria Hills. I am currently, or I will be the incoming Professional Executive Board College Initiative Chair. And I'm currently a program manager at a company based out of Virginia called Alarm.com. I've been a recruiter for 3 years now between NSBE conferences, SHIP, and the SWE conferences. And so just taking a chance to share some of the learnings I've had over the few short years I have with recruiting to help you all really be successful during this upcoming virtual career fair. And so first, what we're going to talk about today is really how you can navigate that career fair And that's like the first part of it, this virtual experience, understanding how you actually navigate it. The second thing is the mindset during the career fair, because since it is virtual, you have to think of it beyond standing in a line. Now you're in the comfort of your home, so your mindset has to change around how you're going to navigate the career fair. And then the third thing we're going to discuss is how to not strike out. Again, if you don't plan properly, you're going to end up striking out when you get into this virtual environment. And the next thing we're going to talk about is getting ready for the virtual career fair and giving you a few steps on how you can prepare yourself for that experience. Get your bases loaded so you can stand out during the career fair, and actually during every phase of finding your job. And then lastly, getting a home run, which is going to be securing your offer from a company. And then of course, just because you got a job does not mean the game is over. So we're going to give you some proper techniques on how to follow up with companies after the fair is over. And so the first step, navigating the virtual career fair. So this virtual environment is very new for a lot of us, including myself, because most career fairs, you have that personal interaction, you're shaking hands, you're able to like smile and get emotions across. And so in this instance, you're going to be leveraging your 6Connect user profile. And this is a link that's going to be sent to you all between today and tomorrow that will allow the recruiters to have access to you during this virtual fair. And again, if you're registered, the 6Connect platform team already has your information, so you won't have to worry about that, and you should receive an email in the next few days. The next thing is understanding this virtual user interface. Again, because what you're traditionally used to is you're walking into this giant hall with lots of companies. Instead, you're sitting at your computer and you don't have all the companies at your leisure, nor do you have your chapter there with you. So we want you to be able to understand what this virtual platform looks like, the exhibitor floor, the booths, the chat function, so that you can really excel in this virtual environment. And then lastly, communication with our exhibitors. We want to make sure that this experience is mutually beneficial for both parties. And so it's very important that one, you have reliable internet connectivity during this process, and also that you are selling yourself the best way you can through a chat feature. So your user profile, which pretty much going to consist of a couple different things. So the first thing that you're going to specify that I don't have to put here is put a picture in your user profile. Make sure they can see what you look like, and make sure it's a professional picture. Think of it as something you would use on your LinkedIn profile to help put it into perspective. But also you can specify what type of job you're looking for. So the recruiters actually know if you're looking for an internship or if you're looking for a full-time job offer. The next thing you're gonna make sure you indicate is your current address, which in this case, you're not putting your full address, you're putting your current city and state, and you can indicate relocation preferences in that profile as well. The major key for your user profile is to make sure that your major and graduation date is correct on your user profile. So if you are an undergraduate student, or if you're a graduate student, make sure your universities are accounted for. And then also any certifications or clearances you may have, if you've had a job in the past where you've had like top secret clearance, all these different types of clearances, you can put those in your 6Connect user profile as well. And then lastly, any work authorizations and visas. Again, you got to remember this is a virtual environment. So you don't want to spend time in line if you know you need work authorization. Try to make sure you find companies that are willing to take individuals who may not require work authorizations, and also knowing your visa status as well. Make sure you have that readily available. The other thing is the virtual career fair interface. So this is what you're going to see when you log into 6Connect. There's actually a screen that's before this where you put in your email, and the email that you have to put in is the email that the 6Connect registration was sent to. And so once you put that in, you will be redirected to this beautiful virtual career fair space. And the first area is going to be just a regular exhibitor hall. That is where individual companies are located. But there's also this, the gold hall, where there are individuals who paid for an additional level of sponsorship for NSBE, and they're located there. In screen 3, we'll have a welcome message from our national chair there. There might be some other advertisements as well from our sponsor in that welcome screen. And then after that, you have our university partners. So you'll have individuals who have an increased level, university gold, standard, etc. And then the most important piece here beyond just the career fair is technical support. And so if you find that you have any problems with your interface, please click on that technical support area. It's a live chat. You can talk to whomever is there manning the booth from 6Connect, and they will help you out. Another area as well is this area at the bottom down here. It's kind of a quick area for you to be able to, it's a quick way to just kind of click and go into that virtual space. You have the lobby, which is right here, your virtual lobby, the exhibitor hall, which is directly right here, number 1 or number 2. Being an attendee, you can see yourself, the chats you were a part of, and of course your briefcase, which has things like your resume in there and your user profile details. In addition to that, so this is what so normally when you walk into a career fair, you have this area where there's lots of freebies and trinkets and things you can, take with you. In this particular area, you're gonna have pictures and logos of different companies. And so the first thing you'll be able to do, if there's a company that you specifically want to look for and they're going to be located in the career fair, use the site search function. You don't have to go through and manually click through all these companies, but you can use a search site function to be able to type in the name of the company quickly so you can get right into their line. The second way you can do it is through the gallery view. Again, you can scroll through all the companies that are going to be located in our career fair, and for you to be able to see them. And again, it's just an ocean of logos. So again, I highly encourage you to walk into this virtual experience knowing what companies you want to work for, and type those in so you can quickly have access to them. All right, so when it comes to what the booth looks like. So this is a layout of what a sample booth will look like, depending on the level of the corporate sponsor. They may have some additional features like videos and things of that nature. But for the most part, here's what you're gonna see. Number 1, you're gonna see this navigation panel here. And this panel is really, your way to see how to navigate through this virtual experience. So you have your exhibitor hall. The next button will take you to the next set of companies. Previous takes you to the previous companies. And then we bring you to the second section, which is the public chat. And so this is a feature that companies can utilize to communicate with anyone who enters their booth. And they can just, put questions or things in that public chat area for you to see while you wait. And then when you click the chat with us, this is very important. When you click the chat with us section, that is where you go to get in line for a one-on-one conversation. I'm going to talk a little bit about that a little bit later, but that is where you go to have your one-on-one conversation. Similar to if you were in the actual career fair, you'd walk up in line and get in line for that virtual experience. Number 4, you have your company name. Obviously, you want to know what company you're in line for. And then number 5 is going to be like your resources and information that the company is going to provide you with. So that can be things such as documentations, requisition numbers, any information that they want you to have, and you can look at that while you're in their line. Number 6 is the recruiter information. And so basically you will be able to see all the different recruiters who are located inside of this particular virtual environment. They will have either a gray like chat bubble, and I'll show you that bubble in a little bit, or they will have a green chat bubble. The green chat bubble means that they are available and located in the virtual space at that time. Number 7, there's a welcome video. So some companies may have a welcome video as well that they would like to utilize. And so as the candidate, you will have access to see who's in there, how many different exhibitors are in there or representatives are in there, and you'll be able to see the welcome video. And then at the bottom, again, it says navigation pane of shortcuts. You can look at your briefcase. You can look at what chats you've had. You can go to the lobby, take a break, or, just navigate through those shortcuts. So some important information. So in that space where I mentioned there's resources, right? So a company may indicate things such as they might post PDFs, videos, anything they want for a potential candidate to see in that that little resources area. So when you're standing in line, make sure you take advantage of the time frame you're in there by looking at resources. See if there's content you may need to fill out. Again, it'd be a good time to apply for the job right there on the spot, so you can tell that, you know, recruiter like, hey, I've already applied for a job, and go from there. The next thing is the chat with us feature. And so this is, again, another important part, because as an attendee, you can't see this. And again, as a recruiter, just me kind of giving you the sauce, you can't see this, but the recruiters can see this. So basically, they can see who's all in line waiting. And what they can also see are these little things over here. So this example doesn't have the actual icons, but they can see your LinkedIn profile. They can see that you're available to chat. And they can also download copies of your, like they can download your resume and look at it on the spot. So it's very important that you have the most up-to-date version of your resume when you create your profile on 6Connect. And I highly recommend that that version of your resume is a PDF. Again, I am encouraging you to make sure you have the most up-to-date version of your resume in a PDF format when you create your 6Connect profile over the next 2 days. Because as soon as you get in their line, as soon as you hit chat with us, they can see it. And so the beautiful thing about this space here is that recruiters can kind of see like what you're interested in, and you can make sure that's very clear and upfront. And also the way this is ordered is by, you know, the time, whoever's been in line the longest. So if you've been in line the longest, your name goes up to the top. That's how it's organized. So if you've been in line for 30 minutes, your name is going to be, you know, closer to the top than someone who's hopped in for 5 minutes. Okay. Next thing, there's also this option to email a recruiter. And so this is a twofold, I would say, good and a bad thing, because the good thing is you can send a document directly to a recruiter if you want to. The bad thing is they don't see it until after the career fair is over. So they won't see it until May 1st. So it's really important that you utilize the chat feature to talk to them versus trying to send them an email and say, hey, I'm Susie and I met you and I didn't have time to stand in your line. But no, don't send them an email unless they tell you something like, hey, send me an email with XYZ. I really want to connect with you. And most times, again, another one of these points of to take a note of, most individuals who are recruiting are probably going to give you their email or direct you to someone in HR when they want something additional from you. So, but the feature is there to send an email, but I highly encourage you to use the chat feature versus trying to send an email. All right, so now we talk about the virtual environment. Let's get to the juicy part. Let's get to the juicy part. So basically just a quick little reminder that the NSE 46 Career Fair is going to be April 30th and May 1st as well. So those are the times there. Again, like I mentioned, you got to look at this like it's a real career fair. So you got 5.5 hours. You can usually spend about 30 to 45 minutes inside of a virtual environment. Just use your time wisely. If you don't have those times noted, take a screenshot, take that information right there. So next, we're going to talk about mindset. So as I mentioned before, being in a physical environment is much, much, much different than when you are in a virtual environment. One, because you're more comfortable when you're at home sitting. And the second part is you don't have that same level of, you know, energy and people around you who are all dressed up, all these beautiful Black engineers. So we really want to talk about mindset and how you keep a positive mindset during this experience. So I like to use the analogy of a baseball game because it's one of the few sports that are really individualistic, even though you're in a team environment. So for one, your chapter is like your team, right? They're in the dugout, they're cheering you on, but at the end of the day, it all boils down to you. You're the batter, you know, you're the one who's gonna have to knock this thing out. And so as you're going through this career fair, I want you to envision this career fair as a game of baseball, right? So you got 4 bases, 4 bases, they represent, you're trying to get to the home run, and every base you get to is an opportunity to make it to the next one. First base, second base, third base, home run, last base, right? That baseball that you're gonna hit, that represents that internship or full-time job offer that you're trying to get, you're trying to hit that thing out the park, get that home run, or at least get to a couple bases. And that baseball bat that you have, envision that as a tool, such as your resume, your hard skills, soft skills, those interview skills, all those things you've done to swing at the opportunity, AKA the ball, to swing at the opportunity that's coming at you. And then the next thing standing in between you and that home run is the pitcher, AKA the recruiter, who's gonna ask you all types of questions, but yet they hold the opportunity that you're looking for. So really the batter represents you again. You have control over how this entire situation unfolds. You hold the keys to get to the bases, and how you swing your bat determines how many bases you're gonna get to. And so basically, you gotta knock that thing out the park. You gotta knock that ball all the way out, but just remember, don't strike out. So what does that mean? Striking out is when you poorly plan for the virtual career fair. So how do you strike out? 1, you're not prepared. And what does not being prepared look like? Well, for starters, if you don't have your resume reviewed by at least 2 other people, you're already setting yourself up for failure. I personally have 2 degrees in engineering and getting another degree in business. And literally, I've had my resume reviewed by so many people, and every person has given me a different critique to make that thing even better. Utilize your 6Connect and LinkedIn profiles and make sure the information is accurate. You cannot say you're graduating in 2020 on LinkedIn and then on your 6Connect say you're graduating in 2019. The information has to match. Again, this is a time for you to apply for positions while you're standing in line. You can literally apply while you're sitting there waiting for an exhibitor to talk to you, or a recruiter to talk to you. So you need to apply for positions before the career fair if you can, but if not, do it while you're sitting there on your computer. If you don't have a list of companies you're interested in going into the career fair, you're setting yourself up for failure, literally. You're setting yourself up not to get to the companies you want at. Typically at traditional career fairs, you have that time to go to a warm-up little company, but in this virtual environment, you gotta go to what you want, you gotta aim for what you want and go get it. The last thing is not doing research on companies in advance and creating meaningful questions. As I mentioned before, you are using a chat feature. So as a recruiter, I don't want you asking me, what does your company do? You literally have a laptop, tablet, iPad, iPhone, everything at your disposal. Please do not ask companies what do they do, because you have that information right in front of you. So do your research. Again, preparedness is strike number 1. If your resume is not reviewed, you don't have your profiles with correct information, you don't apply for positions beforehand, if you don't have a list of companies you're ready to look at, and if you don't research the companies, you're setting yourself up to strike out. Strike number 2, presence. Very, very, very important. Number 1 part of presence, make sure your internet connectivity is strong and that you're in a place that's, has a strong internet connection. This is not the time to be using the free Xfinity mobile hotspot. Not the time unless you really, really have to. If you don't show up, if you're showing up hours into the career fair timeframe, again, you got to remember the days is like 5.5 hours one day and 4.5 hours the other day. You got to show up on time, ready to go. Failing to dress professionally to attend your virtual career fair. You might be saying, why do I need to dress up if I'm going to be virtual? It puts you in the mindset of success, dressing for success, not halfway like you do for work, but all the way. Get all the way dressed professionally. It might be uncomfortable, but it's going to set you into the right mindset. And again, they may not see you, but you're going to perform better when you look better. The last thing is having loud noises or distractions in your background. For those who might be parents, I understand 100%. Try to make sure someone can, take the kids for a little bit. But if you can prevent the noises in your background, That's going to allow you to ask better questions and questions that are, obvious, or provide better answers so that they will invite you for future conversations. If you don't have your 2 to 3 sentence elevator speech, you're setting yourself up for failure again. You got to remember, you're in line with individuals who have time to prepare. So having that 2 to 3 sentence elevator speech ready for that one-on-one chat already puts you above the rest of everyone else. And then the last part of presence is not reviewing the company resources and asking public questions while you're waiting in queue. So again, you want to stick out. So ask really good questions. I mean, save the good ones for the one-on-one chat, but ask some good questions during the public chat. And also look at the company resources while, you're in line waiting. You got about 30, 40 minutes. You might as well, read up and do something. The last part is patience. Strike 3, patience. Remember, you cannot expect on-demand recruiter interaction. In some instances, it might happen, but for larger companies, if you're going to Amazon, don't expect to hit on a recruiter or hit private chat and a recruiter is going to say, hi, I'm such and such, because it may not happen. So expect to wait at least 30 to 40 minutes to talk to someone, because you have over 4,000 people coming to this virtual career fair. I'll repeat that again. Expect to wait 30 to 40 minutes to talk to someone as if you were at a real career fair. When you're at a real career fair, you don't just walk up and start talking to someone. You have to wait. So have that same level of patience here as well. And then also, you got to be, if you don't understand that you can only be in one line at a time, you might set yourself up to poorly plan your time. So again, remember, just like at a regular career fair, you can only be in one line at a time. So again, space your time out well and make sure you have patience. And again, the last part is you got to have stamina. You're going to be typing, your fingers are going to hurt. You're going to be tired of typing the same answers over and over, but you got to have stamina. Focus on the mindset part here. Your mindset has to change. Just like you got to keep answering those questions over and over when you're talking to someone, same thing happens when you're typing. All right, so now we talked about how you don't want to strike out. Let's talk about getting ready for this thing, right? Let's put on, our outfit. Let's get ready to, knock this career fair out. So batter up, let's go. So let's get ready for the fair. First things first, update your resume, your LinkedIn, and your 6Connect profile. Those have to be key when you walk in that career fair. You got to feel confident that that's ready. Next thing is test, and test again your internet connectivity. You want to make sure you create a list of all companies that you're interested in and allocate at least 30 minutes for each of them at the fair. Participate in some mock interviews. I've mock interviewed a ton of people, and every time I feel like individuals learn something different about their interviewing style. So whether you're interviewing with your friends, a mentor, someone, practice those behavioral-based interview questions because they're going to happen. And smile and dress professionally. Again, they can't see you, but when you're typing, you got to have that sense of confidence as if you were right in front of them. Smile, dress professional. You got this. And then again, create that 2 to 3 sentence intro elevator speech so that you, just like you will when you walk up to someone, do the same thing. And then lastly, prepare questions for your one-on-one. Good questions. I'm going to give you a couple questions you should make sure you have answers to. All right, bases loaded. Now it's time for you to really stand out during this process here. So, all right, you've hit the ball, boom. You didn't knock it out the park, but that's okay because now you got the first base. All right, so getting the first base means you had a successful candidate screen. So what does this mean? So for most companies, the basics that we look at is your class standing, because that shows us what type of job we're going to look at you for. Your major and the university you attended, because sometimes that can impact bonuses. When you graduate, and your citizenship status. And also GPA on here, but depending on the company, GPA may or may not matter. And that's also not on your profile anyway. Again, your 6Connect profile will contain the answers to most of these questions. And the recruiter can see your profile while you're in the chat queue. And then here's an example of a 2 to 3 sentence. This is actually like 1.5 sentences. But here's a key intro for your one-on-one chat. Take a screenshot if you can. But hi, I'm Victoria Hills. I'm a first-year graduate student in mechanical engineering at Kettering University, and I'm seeking an internship with Accenture to further enhance my technical depth in human Capital Consulting. That took me like 30 seconds to say, maybe. That's exactly how you want to have your intro, the same way. Tell them who you are and what you want, literally. And then they'll ask you follow-up questions, but you got to tell them who you are and what you're looking for. All right, so the recruiter was like, great, we like you. Let's move it to the next level. You've made it to second base. Second base is a lot harder than first base. And so second base is when they've, you're in the one-on-one private chat and the companies are, they begin having conversation with you and, you're chatting with one another and they start to ask you questions. I mean, the number one question, and I'm gonna just be 100% transparent, that most companies are gonna ask you is, why do you wanna work for our company? And you better have a good answer because you have time to prepare and I'm feeding you questions right now to think about. So why do you wanna work for our company? Tell me about your academic background and your professional experience. What do you wanna do at our company? What makes you a unique candidate or sets you apart from others? If you can't answer that last question, you got to do some soul searching because you got to know what makes you stick out and why you're so important. And each and every one of you is extremely important and have something to offer to every company. And the next thing is make sure you've already applied for open positions. So if you know you're looking for an internship position, make sure you go and apply for that position because again, you're in line for like 30 minutes. You should be able to just go and knock that thing out. And the other thing too is to make sure you don't use slang, acronyms, emojis, or GIFs, or anything that can be a distraction. Don't send anything that's not professional, needless to say. All right, so you've made it. You made it through second base. Now you're going to third base. Now third base happens outside of the virtual career fair because, obviously we don't have the platform set up to do phone screens or interviews, but companies are going to send you invitations to do that. And so during this phase, this is pretty much HR focused for the most part. And they're going to schedule an interview or some type of phone screen with you for the most part. And during this phase, you have got to be able to articulate your key skills from your resume. I mean, can't emphasize that enough. If you don't know what you've done, how do you expect to be able to describe it to someone else, right? So make sure you can articulate those things. Again, reiterate why you're a best fit for the role, have some examples using the STAR method. And if you need an example of that, let anyone on the NEB know, PB know, we will send that out to you if you do not know what the STAR method is. It's the method for answering behavior-based questions, situation, task, action, result. And then be enthusiastic, right? People feed off of energy. So be enthusiastic about the opportunity that you're getting from a company. And lastly, boom. If you make it through all of that, you hit a home run and got a formal job offer. So after a successful phone screen, series of interviews, that precious moment of getting a job offer has just happened. And so you have to remember that you have to send thank you messages. I know it may be very traditional and old school, but send those thank you messages to everyone who's helped you out along the way. Whether they were the person at the Nesby recruiter or whoever, but send them a thank you message. And make sure you introduce yourself when you actually get to work. But just because you hit a home run and got a job offer, it's not over yet. There's still work to be done. And so after the game is over, there's some post-game things you got to make sure you can do. And so we're going to talk about the proper follow-up techniques. So proper follow-ups. Number one, this is something that frustrates every company. Only accept an offer if you plan to work at that company. This is not college where having a bunch of offers and accepting a bunch of offers is like a cool thing. We only want you to accept an offer if you accept an offer and give us a start date if you plan to work for us. So this is not college again. If you don't want to work for a company, don't accept the offer. And it's okay because that offer can go to somebody else. So again, only accept if you plan to work at the company. Number two, extremely important, especially as Black engineers or engineers of color in general, negotiate your salary, especially if you're an experienced professional. No one knows your value like you do. You know your experience. Don't let someone put a dollar sign on your experience when you know if you got an offer for $65K and your last job was $65K, there is no way you should take this current offer after you've been working somewhere for a couple years. Negotiate, negotiate, negotiate. Secure the bag by any means necessary. Consider the cost of living in your relocation package. If you get a job offer for $65K in California, and it's not like Northern California, like Fresno or something, where you can afford the cost of living, you might want to renegotiate how much they're going to pay you, because, just because the cost of living, is extremely expensive, your pay has to also be able to cover that cost of living. So unless you want to have 15 roommates or live in a garage or something, you want to make sure you consider the cost of living in that the relocation package, because some companies won't give you a relocation package, and you got to be assertive and ask for those things. And then lastly, this one is dear and dear. I've had this happen to some people that we recruited before, but make sure you can pass all the entry requirements. If the job requires a drug test, security clearance, polygraph test, make sure you can make it through those steps before, you get all the way through the job process. So again, only accept offers you plan to take, negotiate your salary, especially if you're a seasoned, experienced professional. Consider the cost of relocation and your cost of living and relocation package options, and make sure you can pass the requirements. Extremely, extremely important. So that's it. If you have any questions, there's a Q&A feature. Please, please, please drop them there. Again, I'm always open to resume reviewing. I know right now we have 2 days before, so feel free to shoot me an email if you would like your resume reviewed, and you have no one else to do it. Direct message me, IG, either way. But I hope this playbook has been beneficial and taught you a little bit about what to expect during the virtual career fair and how to navigate that process after. So thank you so much for your time. And I think Nosa might have the questions, or.
Yep, I'm right here for you. So our first question, a couple of them have already been answered in the chat by Austin, but the first question that we're going to go on ahead and address is from Liana. She says, are we going to be able to set up our 6Connex profile ahead of time?
Yes, you will be able to set it up. So there should be an email sent out to you between tomorrow and Wednesday from the 6Connect individuals. If you're registered, they should send it to you.
All right.
That question.
That does answer the question. Thank you. And the next one is this: the NSBE job portal doesn't show any openings in the companies attending the career fair. That might be a question more so that I can answer. So as of right now, the portal does not show, but it will show the various companies that are attending the virtual career fair on the NSBE Convention website. And so what you can do is go to that company's personal website and check their website to see what jobs are currently available, like Victoria did state previously, because some companies are updating their website as they go, because with COVID-19 a lot of things have changed, so you can go ahead and do that. Somebody also asked, can we have different versions of our resume depending on the job title? So can they upload various different versions?
I want to say that you can only have one version, but Kendra, are you online?
Yeah, so good evening, everyone. My name is Kendra Allen, National Finance Chairperson for NSBE. And to answer that question, you actually can have more than one resume attached to your profile within the platform.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
And I'll help with any other questions that the attendees also have, NOSA. So you can keep going.
All right, perfect. So our next question is, has 6Connect already sent out an email to upload our resumes to?
I don't believe so.
Nope, so they have not sent that email out just yet, mainly because we had to cut off the registration last week. And so we have more than about 4,000 attendees that will be participating, and everyone will receive their own profile. So that should be coming before Thursday.
Thank you. And then another question in regards to a similar question, actually, but it deals more so with registration. People that were already registered for convention, were they supposed to get an email as far as registering for the virtual career fair, or how do they go about that with the 6Connect?
So there was an email that was sent out earlier today. If you are already registered for NSB 46, it should have been an email entitled "Need to Know" before you go, or something of that nature. I'm sorry. And it had basically a welcome stating that you are already registered for NSB 46. It also had some resources included in there, which included the link to this webinar, as well as the webinar that we did for technical interviews last week. So if you have not received that, please check your emails, please check your spam. And if you still have not received that email, please send me an email at nebfinance@nesb.org.
Okay, thank you for that. The next question is asking, does the chat with us option for a company tell you your estimated wait time before you can speak with one recruiter?
So unfortunately, it does not. However, within the platform or within the booth that you're in, the companies will upload content that has the available job opportunities available in their booth or at their company. And so you can kind of do a little research beforehand, as well as check their content folder that they have to see if you qualify. If you don't, then you can use that time or utilize that time at other partners' booths.
And then someone wanted clarification on the chatting with recruiters. They asked, will that be face-to-face or by typing?
So as Victoria stated, it will be a chat feature. However, most companies are setting up a virtual face-to-face kind of one-on-one for about 15 to 20 minutes, just to really kind of make intros, really learn a little bit more about the participants, but that's through their own platforms that's acceptable within their company. So some companies may accept Zoom, some companies may accept Microsoft Teams, but that made it easier within the platform for the companies to actually talk to participants.
Thank you. And this next question is a little bit more so geared towards the interaction between the recruiter and themselves. This person wants to know, how do you come up with meaningful questions to ask a recruiter in this setting?
Yeah, I mean, earlier I indicated some key things to be able to ask or be able to answer. But just think about it from their perspective, like, okay, what is it that you're trying to get across to them? So whenever you're interacting with anybody, it should be a two-way street. So like, when you're thinking about things to ask the recruiter, ask them about their experience. Ask them about what challenges they've had on the job. Ask them about culture at the company. 9 times out of 10, the person you're talking to is probably going to be a person of color. So ask them about the culture, what their experience has been, especially if you're like someone who's a seasoned, experienced employee. Ask them about that. I would shy away from anything financially related. Like, don't ask about how much money can I make, but focus really on the experience, the culture, and the fit at the company.
Thank you. And someone also asked, should we be aiming to go for the one-on-one chats or a group, or standing out more so in the group chats? Which one is a better use of our time?
The one-on-one chat, hands down. Go in, guns blazing, ready to talk one-on-one. Hop in that line as quickly as possible. Because again, like I mentioned, you're going to be waiting about 30 to 40 minutes like you're in a regular line. So go straight into the private chat. And I would say hop straight into the private chat because it's going to put you in the queue. And Kendra, correct me if I'm wrong, it's going to put you in the queue, but you still have access to be able to look at the private chat. Is that correct, Kendra?
Yes, so for the private chats, it'll put you in the queue. You mean the public chat, I think. But yes.
That's what I meant. The public chat, you can still look at the public chat.
Yes, you are correct.
Yeah, so hop right into the one-on-one and then just, ask questions in that public one.
And this same individual was wondering, how are they supposed to stand out in the group chat setting? Well,
again, it's really focusing on asking some really good questions. I would say kind of section your questions off into 2 areas. Like the one area would be more one-on-one. So like if you're talking to like myself, right? Asking more questions about my experience, what what I've experienced at the company, what the company, you know, like looks for, like something that you can get a one-on-one answer for. In the public chat, just ask general questions, you know, like if it's something where you're just trying to get an understanding of like what the company's looking for, what if it's not in the resources section, right? Like, so make sure you don't ask questions that are redundant that might be located in the resources section, but just asking some simple questions like, you know, what is the company looking for in your traditional intern? Something that you would ask on a panel type discussion. Think about it that way. What type of question would you ask in a panel-like setting? If you had these 20-some people in front of you, what type of question would you ask? Think about it that way. Then think about it from a mind frame of, if I had this person one-on-one, what would I want to ask them? Something more private, more, not more sensitive, but like more one-on-one-ish. So think about it that way. If you had to ask a panel a question, that's what you would ask in that public chat. But if you're talking to someone one-on-one, think about it that way.
Okay. And just for clarification, there's a lot of questions popping up in the chat right now. So if you have any specific questions in regards to like you failing to get the registration link or whatever it may be, Austin, the National CPC Chair, has dropped 2 emails, the email of Kendra as well as his email in the chat sections for you all to be able to access that. And we won't really address any of those again and again, but definitely shoot them an email and they can figure out any problems that you guys might have had. But the next question is, if you are already in a virtual line towards the end of the career fair, will your spot be secure once the time runs out? If not, what will happen once the career fair ends and you're standing and you remain in the chat line? Will you be pushed till the next day or not?
So I can answer that question. Once you are at that company's booth, they will have a list of who is actually in that in their booth. So if you are at the end of the chat line, they will have your name and your, not necessarily your contact, but they will have your name and your profile to reconnect with you afterwards. I hope that helps.
Thank you. And the next question was asking in regards to the job postings that companies have. So someone asked that some companies do not post all their jobs. Although I would apply for a few beforehand, is it still okay for me to ask about specific openings that may not be posted online?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, some companies do not post all their jobs. Although I may apply for positions beforehand, is it still okay for me to ask specific questions about potential openings for companies that are not posted online?
Oh, yes. So as Victoria stated through her presentation, you want to make sure that, one, when you're doing your pre-work, that you look at those previous jobs that they posted online. But then 2, once you're at that booth, to make sure that you're also looking at their content folder, because they may have additional opportunities that may not be available, as you stated, online. With COVID-19 occurring, and I saw this more also in the Q&A, it's very hard even for us as well as the companies to really know what positions they have available at this point, which is why we could not necessarily provide a list as we would do for a physical career fair of positions opening, whether that's internships or full-times. So the best approach to this is to make sure that when you go to that company's booth, to look at their content folders, because they will post what they have available. And if you fit, then you should definitely continue to stay within that booth and talk to that company.
Thank you. And then just for clarification again, people are asking for the email addresses I stated earlier. They are in the chat box. It is cpcchair@nesb.org and nebfinance@nesb.org. Those are the 2 emails if you had any questions or troubles in regards to your registration. But the next question was, can we get access to the recruiters attending for companies? Prior to March, we were able to see which recruiters were attending the physical career fair, and that allowed us to be able to follow up. Is there any other way I could access this information?
So let me clarify. They are asking, can they have the list of companies participating
Um,
before or after? I guess I'm unclear.
I think they're more so stating that, let's say Microsoft or Google, whoever it may be, their recruiters will post on LinkedIn and they will say, hey, I'll be attending NSBE 46. Go on ahead and shoot me a direct message if you would like. They're asking for the direct recruiter's information so that they could follow up in that nature afterwards.
Oh, okay, I got it. So that information will be within that company's booth. It may not be the same recruiter that posted something on LinkedIn versus the same recruiter that is within the platform. And if that's the case, they may want to just reach out to that recruiter that posted it on LinkedIn. I think I answered that question.
And someone also asks, can you go into multiple lines at once?
No.
No.
Okay, again, remember, you got to envision this as if you were at a regular career fair, right? You can only be in one line at a time at a regular career fair. The same is true in a virtual career fair.
Thank you for that. And then someone also asks, will you be able to do interviews? Oh, I lost the question. It's so many popping up. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I answered it. I basically stated that they, oh shoot, I forgot which company that was. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'll find it, Nelson, and bring it back. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's fine. And then someone also asks, will most or all of the companies be present for both days?
All the companies will be present for both days. The reason that it is at the time that it's at is because all of our companies are not in one location in one time zone. So we definitely had to account for West Coast participants and recruiters, as well as East Coast participants and recruiters. In addition to, there are some students that also still have finals. And so we wanted to at least be able to make the virtual career fair available for them.
Thank you. How should we be dressed for the virtual events? I think Victoria already sent this earlier, but she can go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, no, you want to dress as if you were actually going to a career fair. Ready to impress. It gets you in the mindset. I mentioned this earlier. It's all about mindset during this virtual career fair experience.
Yep, that is correct. So, and someone asks, if we're on a virtual line for about 30 minutes to talk one-on-one with the recruiter, should we leave this line and go to the next company?
No, do not leave the line. Again, because you got to look at it as if you were at a regular career fair. You stayed in line at a regular career fair for 30, 40 minutes just to get that opportunity. You have the luxury of being able to wear flats and sit in a chair. So just kind of, use that 30 minutes to apply for jobs for that company, get some really good questions answered for that company. Like, you don't have to just sit, make that an interactive experience as well.
Okay. Can you log into the career fair on your laptop as well as your phone in case you have an unsteady connection, or will this cause technical problems seeing that you are logged in from 2 devices?
That I am actually not sure of. I can have that person send me an email at nebfinance@nesbe.org, and I will get them an answer to that question.
Would there be an option for international students to filter companies open to hiring them?
Yes, so on the registration page, it does ask if you are, if you have sponsorship, or do you have authorization to work in the United States. And so that will also, that's one question during your registration, but then also looking at the company's content management space within their booth to also make sure.
And then that was answered. Will we be able to know how many people are ahead of us in line?
So that's something that the corporate partners will know. I can't remember if that is available for the participant to see. Have that person send me an email at nebfinance@nesby.org and I can give them an answer.
And Kendra, I'll also make sure some of these questions that are being asked are a part of the our Wednesday session, so we can have some of these things answered too for everybody.
Okay. Does NSBE provide a resume review?
If you send me your resume, I will review it for you. Like that's if you really want your resume reviewed, send it to me. I'll look at it. Like Kendra, if you have a formal answer to that.
Oh, I was going to say, unfortunately for this event, we don't have the capability to do that. However, Victoria has greatly offered her time, and her email is on the slide.
Again, take all your chances. I reviewed tons of resumes. I've recruited. Don't let this chance slip you by. Trust me. It doesn't come around that often.
And someone asked, can you update your resume on the platform after you initially uploaded? Is there a cutoff time for your resume and LinkedIn info being uploaded prior to the career fair?
So the answer to that is no. It's only on the platform. So once you go through registration, you do have the opportunity to change what's in your registration profile. And for the people that are asking questions within the chat, can you please make sure that you ask them in the Q&A so that we can answer them appropriately?
Yeah. How would one best describe their key skills on their resume? That's interesting.
So I think your best way to do it is to have two sections. You should have a section that's called skills and specify hard and soft skills. So hard skills are the things that are technical. So if you are, if you know any coding languages, put those on there. Microsoft Office is always a good default. And if you know any soft skills, put those on there as well. And then when you are listing out what you've done at companies or during your research, use that situation, task, action, result, but make it really, 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 really like a short one sentence. So make sure you're able to quantify, you did this and the result was this. You did X and the result was Y. Like make that clear. Those things will paint a holistic picture on your resume.
And I know that some people have asked about the hiring of international students or sponsorship, but this question is in regards to the hiring status of companies in regards to COVID-19. So how would they know if a company is currently hiring despite COVID-19, Kendra?
So specifically for the virtual career fair, every company and university as well, that is participating in the virtual career fair is hiring. In what capacity, we are still not sure, but they all are hiring.
Thank you. And the next question is, as you're logged into the BCF platform, will you be able to switch to other tabs, such as Google Docs, if you had a pre-written speech or elevator pitch in some kind of sort?
To answer this question, yes, you can. The platform is running off of it's just like a regular website. And so you are able to switch to other tabs, other documents that you have on your computer, and use your resources as you see fit.
Thank you. Is this webinar being recorded? And if yes, how can we access it later? Yes, the webinar is being recorded.
But also,
you can answer the second portion. Sorry.
No, I was,
Go ahead, Victoria. I'm sorry.
I was going to say it's being recorded, but we're also going to do another session on Wednesday that's going to include some of the questions that you guys have asked, and then the actual slide deck. I'm going to provide it to the team so they can send it out to you guys as like a prep, obviously before, you know, you're going into Thursday for the career fair. So, you know, those things will be available for you.
And we are, to add to that, we are also working to include a lot of this information at the NSBE booth within the platform.
Thank you. That's the same question. So we dismiss that. Can you choose which recruiter you want to talk to?
Yes, you can. So it will have the recruiter's name within the private chat function. However, that recruiter does have to respond to that participant.
Makes sense. Will the face-to-face interview option be outside of the career fair time so that we can utilize our time to meet as many other companies as possible?
So for that answer, that is dependent on that particular company. Most companies are utilizing face-to-face interaction after the career fair, but again, it depends on that personal preference for that particular company.
International students. Does staying in line guaranteed a one-on-one discussion with the recruiter? Is it likely that I stay in line and still not get to interact with the recruiter?
I'm going to
So, unfortunately, that is likely. However, that's why Victoria pressed so hard to make sure that you're looking at that content folder within that booth and making sure that you qualify for any of the opportunities that that company or university partner has available.
And that question was already asked as well as this.
I'm so happy that everyone has so many questions and is really pumped and amped for this virtual career fair. This is definitely something that NSBE's first time doing, and I really, really hope that everyone is able to enjoy it and really find those opportunities that they weren't necessarily able to find because of COVID. We really want to support our members. We really want them to have the job opportunities that they seek. And so we as a board and as a team is really excited about this, and hopefully that you guys are very excited about it as well.
Yes. So somebody asks, I don't have a great LinkedIn. I don't have a LinkedIn because I'm very low profile. Is this fine?
No, it's not fine. That's a short answer. Your LinkedIn is your professional. It's the way you represent yourself professionally. And again, you don't have to post your personal life on there. It's all about your professional achievements. So again, as a recruiter, that's my second step to validating what you're saying on your resume is actually true. So again, like I get you might be a personal person, but this is your professional representation of yourself to everyone who comes past your resume. So I highly recommend that you get a LinkedIn profile, look up a couple good examples of LinkedIn profiles and try to imitate those.
And the next question is, will there be another career fair during the convention in August?
Oh, I thought you were going to answer that, Nosa. Yes.
Oh, yeah, I will. I can go ahead and answer, yeah. Everything moves forward according to plan. Yes, there will be another career fair event in August for members to attend. So the next question was, is registration still open for new students? Also, are students that don't have NSBE chapters welcome to register?
So to answer this, unfortunately, registration is closed for the virtual career fair. It closed last Wednesday. However, you do not need to be affiliated with a collegiate chapter or club chapter, professional chapter to be a part of NSBE. You can always become a member just by going to nesbe.org, and you can always participate in any event that we have once you become a member. So hopefully you become a member.
Yep. Dues are only $15 as of right now, so go on ahead and pay your national dues, at least for collegiate. That was a collegiate person asking that question. So how do you get notified when it's your turn to chat with the recruiter?
The recruiter will respond to you within the platform. So they'll, if you say, hey, my name, and you give your spiel or your 30-second elevator pitch, as Victoria stated, they will respond to you within the chat function.
Perfect. Since this platform is online, do you think we can get away with having 2 paid resumes, or should we just stick to 1?
So I think that, and this is me personally, you should have as many resumes for as many opportunities that you see fit. For example, I'll give myself as an example. As I'm in material science. However, I will have a resume that looks different if I'm looking for manufacturing jobs versus if I am looking for research and development jobs. So depending on what the opportunity you are looking for, you should have multiple resumes for that particular opportunity.
One piece of advice I would give you, this is what I used. I have an engineering resume and a consulting resume. Look at the job descriptions of what they're looking for and try to tweak your descriptions of what you've accomplished to fit what they're asking for. Use some of the key words that they're mentioning in that job opportunity. So like if you're applying for GM, Ford, Chrysler, those automotive companies are going to have similar words in their job descriptions. So try to tweak your resume to be an automotive resume, but use those words from their job descriptions. Same thing with, like, if you're going to material science, like, Kendra mentioned, look at some companies that have those opportunities that you're looking for and tweak your resume to be a combination of what those key terms are and phrases, because that's going to allow them to be like, oh, you actually, you're speaking our language, like if you're speaking Spanish, I'm speaking Spanish, we're speaking the same language here. So speak like you want the job in your resume.
Perfect advice. And somebody asked, how long do you want your one-on-one session with the recruiter to last?
It shouldn't last no more than 20 minutes. You can kind of get a feel for that if the recruiter thinks you should go on to the next step, because they'll invite you to the next step. But I mean, Victoria, please add, I think about 15 to 20 minutes should be good. It's just like your elevator pitch.
Right, yeah, I would agree. Again, you got to get in the mind frame of like, this is the exact same experience except virtual. So when you're on the career fair floor and you're talking to an exhibitor, that interaction might last like 15 minutes, maybe, before they make a judgment call whether they want to take this to the next level or not. And again, you'll know because you'll get an invitation either to that private one-on-one chat, or which I like to consider a phone screen, or they'll offer you some type of an interview or follow-up discussion. But probably 15, like Kendra said, 15 minutes, but you'll get a feel for it.
Great. And with our next question, we're getting down to our last few, about 15 more. At what time will the portal open? Will we be able to navigate the virtual career fair before the start time?
I am not exactly sure. Have them send me an email. You may be able to, but I am not exactly sure of that right now. They may give us some extra time, but again, I'm not 100% sure. So have that person email me at nebfinance@nesbe.org. Thank you.
And my advice on that particular question, you got to look at it like if you're at a real career fair. Do we allow you to walk around the career fair before the career fair starts? We don't. So, I mean, Kendra might have another answer, but you got to go into it with the mentality that this is just like a regular career fair. You don't have the chance to peruse and browse before, you know, walking into the fair. You have to wait till those doors open.
Definitely. And somebody asks, is Draper Incorporated or Draper Laboratories participating in the career fair? I meant to mark this as a chat when I was going to type the answer out to them. But yeah, just once again, you can go on ahead and find all of the companies that will be participating in NSBE Virtual Career Fair on the NSBE Convention website. So if you go there,
Yeah.
what do you say?
Yeah, no, so I think for that, just have that person email me, because I think that one was, it was stated just Draper on our website, and it wasn't clear if it was Draper Incorporated or Draper Laboratories. I think that's what that was. So Rihanna, please email me at nevfinance@nesb.org.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
No problem.
The next question is, will the submitted resumes be visible to all companies, or will it be restricted just to the booths that we visit?
It is restricted just to the booths that you visit.
Okay, great. Should your, Victoria already covered this beforehand, but yes, I guess you can review one more time. Should your LinkedIn profile look the same as your resume?
Yes.
Right.
Short answer, yes.
Should our resumes be basic or have a creative design?
I highly recommend that you don't use a ton of graphics, because again, like, this is virtual, so you want to make it as clear and concise as possible, because you don't want to have anything skew, you don't want to have anything, like skew off the page where you can't see it, where the recruiter can't see it. So be as basic as possible, but make sure the content is what matters.
Somebody also asked, although I don't have a LinkedIn, I do have a link to my digital credentials to prove that I do work where my resume states. Do I still need a LinkedIn? Please say no.
Yes. Yes, you need a LinkedIn. That is your professional footprint.
Yeah, I would definitely create a LinkedIn if I were you. And even on LinkedIn, they'll have a section for you to add your past work. So you can add that link to your credentials, any work that you've done in the past, whether it be any website that you made or any designs that you made, you can add that to your LinkedIn profile. It's really beneficial to you. So I do suggest you make one. But can you select a different resume for the company you're speaking with at the virtual career fair? Or do they only see the one that is uploaded to the software? I would like to be specific for the company rep that I'm doing a one-on-one with.
So they will see, I believe they will see whatever in your briefcase. So if you have all of them in there, I believe they'll see all of them. But you can change your profile while you're in the platform. So if you want to upload one resume within your profile, go to the specific companies that may apply to that resume, and then re-upload a new resume and then go to those particular companies. You can do that.
My other advice for that would be, and again, Kendra, I'm not sure if the file names are there, but I would name my resume like first initial last name _ general, and then first initial last name and then whatever company name, because at least the company knows, don't look at that one. Like, okay, if I'm Deloitte, I'm not looking at a resume that says Accenture. And again, because you're at a career fair, they understand you're looking at multiple companies. So that's one way you can kind of make sure you're killing a couple birds with one stone, is by naming them. If they can see the name of it, just put like first name, first letter, last name, and then general. So they know this is like your general resume for everyone. And for those companies, put the name of the company in the title. Because again, like you're at a career fair. So of course, you're gonna have multiple resumes, and they know that.
Thank you. What web browser is convenient to use for the 6Connect platform?
Don't use Bing or whatever it is. What is it? Don't use whatever that is. But go ahead, Kendra.
So,
Don't use that.
oh, did someone else say something?
No, I was just saying, don't use Internet Explorer ever.
Got it, got it. So there was an email that was sent out by NSBE entitled What to Know Before You Go to the NSBE 46 Virtual Career Fair platform. Again, this had frequently asked questions. It had technical interview information from last week. It also talks about what platform or what web browsers you should be using. So Chrome is good. Mozilla is fine. I think some people are using Safari. That's also fine. But please check that email. I believe it has some more web browsers in there.
If you are selected to move on to the next round, will there be a phone screening during the career fair?
That may be possible, but that is dependent on that particular company. So they may give you a phone number to call so that they can do a more face-to-face experience. But again, that is company dependent.
If we enter the company booth, can we review the required job description and then exit the booth if we are not a perfect fit?
Yes, you can.
Do people that were already registered for NSBE 46 in San Antonio have any kind of advantage as there are more than 4,000 people? So
the advantage is that the people that were already registered for NSBE 46 were automatically registered for the virtual career fair. We wanted to make sure that we made good on those members that stayed registered. And so they are the ones that automatically got admittance to the virtual career fair. If you were previously registered for NSBE 46 and you requested a refund, then those members had to pay a registration fee for the virtual career fair.
thank you. And with that being said, those are all of our questions in the Q&A section.
Awesome. Well,
Thank you.
I hope this session was really beneficial to help you understand how to navigate this virtual career fair space. If you have any questions, I mean, we've thrown out our emails a couple times. Mine is posted there. I appreciate those who have sent your resumes. Give me a couple days, not a couple days really, but give me till Wednesday morning to review it. I've gone through resumes pretty quickly before. So again, I appreciate you guys taking the time to spend tonight with us. If you have any questions, let us know.
Hey, Eugene, if you're still there, please send me an email at nebfinance@nesbe.org.